everyone, it's Anya here and I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks. Well, actually I am back with a whole series of technique videos. So this intro will be used for every video and it will just remind you that this is part of the techniques video series and that the hook and yarn I am using are just chosen for contrast and for me to be able to show you quite clearly what I'm doing. So I am using this hook and this yarn or these colors or whatever I've got here, but it is mainly about the technique. So I'm hoping that from seeing how I'm doing the technique, you can then take that to your own project. So I hope you have fun in this series and that you will learn a lot and that some of the things that I always used are explained in these videos. So let's get started. So today we are talking about slip stitches. Now, they are used to close around. They don't make any height, but they help you to travel. Okay, so I'm going to explain about slip stitches using them here, but also when you are doing a circle. So I'm going to get started on my slip knot. So that's not your slip stitch. I very often say slip knot, slip stitch. Oh well, never mind. We are going to do 4 chains for the middle of our circle. And then very often it says slip stitch. So how are you going to do your slip stitch? You go back to your first chain here and you pick up a loop. Now many people just pick up 1 loop. I tend to pick up 2 loops because then it doesn't stretch. Then I pull through the yarn like this and I pull it through the loop on my hook. So this way you have now made a little circle that you can use for your middle. And now I am going to do a chain. I generally do a chain of 2 for my double crochets. Now that chain is going to be just a chain until in my head, in my sort of reasoning, in my logic, I do a slip stitch over it, and then that slip stitch then turns that chain into a full-fledged double crochet. Okay, that's my reasoning around this. I've been doing it like this because sometimes otherwise you have to, if you need like 12 double crochets in your circle, that means you have to have 12 V's around the edge of your work. But very often you do your 12 double crochets, then you do your slip stitch, but that means you end up with 13 V's. So I am trying to avoid having to skip a V because you've got one too many. So let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Okay, so I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 double crochets. Okay, that's perfect. I didn't even count them. Then this is the chain. This chain is going to become the 12th double crochet because I am now going to do a slip stitch. And I say I go over the chain, so I'm going to lay the slip stitch here, and then in my head that becomes a fully fledged double crochet. To be able to lay the slip stitch there, I'm going to have to go under this V here. So I always say skip the chain. These are the 2 V's that I made when I did the chain. Go under the next V and do your slip stitch. Look where that slip stitch is going to end up. So this is your V, this is your chain, sorry. Look. So now that slip stitch lays over that chain and that has turned it into a double crochet. And count now, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 V's. So you have your perfect amount. You have to just use every V in the circle, and that's perfect because you don't have to do any skipping or any funny business. Okay, so that is what I do with my slip stitch here. I turn that into the top almost of the chain, and together they make a double crochet. So this is how I do this, so that's a good thing to remember. Then here, when you've finished a row around, and you have to close up your round to then start your next one. If you have started it with a standing stitch, for me this standing stitch just closes up for me, as you can see. The next V is much more formed, much better. So what I'm going to do, I have that slip stitch that I'm going to have to make. So same thing again, I'm going to use my slip stitch to lay above my standing stitch. So I'm going to go skip the standing stitch, go into the V that's next to it, do my slip stitch, and look, it now lays on top of that standing stitch, and it has made that I now have the standing stitch and the next stitch. Okay, and the next stitch, sorry, this one here, right? So again, there's no skipping any stitches. Now if you're not in the right place, I have already cut this off because I was going to not use this, but obviously I am using it now. Then you are going to travel by doing slip stitches underneath or into the chain space that you have there, and then that brings you to the next location where you have to be to start your next round. So if you do this here, you can straight away start with doing your corner, and off you go again to do your next round. So I hope this was useful, explaining to you how I make my slip stitches act as the top of my chains. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.